This is the Paranormal Report. God, I look ridiculous. Anyway, lucky for you, many of you are listening,
Just
not
you?
watching. So, hi, how are you doing? Happy day to everybody. And
Happy
we're on
day?
happy day. We're on
Happy
the
hump
Paranormal
day.
Report. Happy
It's
hump
Wednesday.
day. It's
Hump
hot in this
day.
office. It's hot in this office.
It's hot in this office.
If you're watching on a video, I've got my headphones on. I didn't do my fancy behind the earbud thingies because I feel a little off today, a little bit off.
Jim's not feeling well. Probably too much partying from your podiversary last night.
Oh, yeah. I was hanging off the rafters.
Wow.
Man.
We were just like spinning and, doing cartwheels in the living room.
Yeah. We did.
We did go for a nice little dinner. We
Yes,
decided to go treat ourselves to dinner. And it was nice. It was very nice. Well, Service was meh. But
the food was very good. The food was
excellent. So, I mean, it was nice.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, you don't have a 20th anniversary doing anything in life very often.
Right.
And we thought, Cassandra's going to be headed off to school, so it kind of was a nice opportunity to have a nice dinner with her as well.
Right.
So we thought it would just be a nice little thing, and it was. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to that. Let's throw myself
me
an
deny
anniversary.
a night not cooking.
Let me throw myself a nice anniversary.
Want to do another one tonight, so I don't have to. Well, I've been cooking for the dogs all morning.
I don't have a problem with that, but I think it'll be a little less, maybe a little more take in rather than go out kind of thing. So we can talk offline about this.
No, we're not going to. I have dinner planned tonight. We're having your favorite grilled chicken cutlets with a stone fruit salsa.
Yes.
Yeah, you love chicken.
I like
Jim
chicken.
Loves chicken.
I do.
You do not. Jim likes
the way
chicken.
It's prepared.
Which way do you like? Okay, which way do you like chicken? How do you like chicken? Go ahead, tell everyone.
Think about the kernel.
Yeah, that's the only way
extra
Jim
crispy.
likes chicken.
It's still
that's
chicken.
That's not chicken. That's just
still
oil.
Chicken. Oh.
It's grease. Am I so wrong trying to help you and want you to live well?
I know.
You can't eat that stuff. We can't eat that stuff. But once in a while.
Well, it actually kind of fits into this first story.
Yes,
that we
it
have.
sure does.
What happens to your consciousness after you die? And if you eat too much fried chicken, it might...
Jim's going to the Colonel. No.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's not rip on the Colonel. We don't want to get sued by KFC.
No.
It's a great, delicious
I said you were
delicacy.
going to the Colonel. I didn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, you could get grilled chicken there, but you don't.
Did you know in Japan that is it for Christmas or New Year's? It is a huge deal to get KFC. They have to order like months in advance.
Months in advance. Yes. Months in advance. They have to place their order. And that's their Christmas Day dinner. It's like a huge tradition. It's a big, big following over there.
I like it. So
better than my Christmas Eve dinner?
No, you do a great job. You also make a lot of times pasta for Christmas. For actual
homemade?
Christmas, you make homemade. It is delicious. And the night before is great because we typically have seafood because you're kind of following the Catholic / Italian.
Very loosely following the Feast of the Seven Fishes. We never make it to 7.
Yeah.
And I don't serve half the kinds that they do because I don't like them.
Well, this first story, yes. Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I was going to say, so what's this about this consciousness when we die? What happens?
We're seeing more stories about this, about near-death experiences, and this one from Yahoo, which I actually think was originally on BGR, talks about that question, and they talk about the fact that there's even an emerging theory about a third state between life and death based on cellular research. So, after you die, there might be like this middle state before you're actually the way you're going to be. And there's a lot of questions about near-death experiences. And you pointed out, and I've spoken about this gentleman for many years, but I need to get him on the shows. Sam Parnia, Dr. Sam Parnia, he's an associate professor of medicine at New York University Langone and directs research focused on cardiopulmonary resuscitation. He has a book out. It is called Lucid Dying, The New Science Revolutionizing How We Understand Life and Death. And he makes the point that, all of this seemed to be pretty cut and dried before CPR came around. But after CPR, there have been many people who have survived episodes of getting close to death or even their heart stopping and going beyond what he calls the threshold of death, recalling very vivid and universal experiences about themselves, which were labeled near-death experiences. Now, this article goes on to talk about Dr. Raymond Moody, who we've had on the shows multiple times, who kind of invented that term, near-death experience. Dr. Parnia prefers a different term. He prefers a recalled experience of death. So it's interesting. And in 2025, get this, and we talked about this, I think, researchers found that humans and animals give off a light that vanishes after death. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, and I think, if I remember correctly, they said that it was all biological. It was cellular, but it's like, maybe not. But the other thing I saw recently, which, kind of bugged me, was there's a theory out there now that your brain releases some kind of DMT, the psychedelic, when you die. And that they're trying to say that's why you have these experiences, why you see these experiences. But to that I say, okay, maybe it can make you see little angels floating across the clouds and those kind of things and pink elephants. But what explains the person who has, and I'll use the term near-death experience because that's what we basically use, has an NDE, and then they report back in great accurate detail what was done on them medically while they were gone. So my point is that, yeah, you can try to come up with all the biological causes for near-death experiences and kind of these trippy behaviors. And we're going to talk about another one, a remarkable one you found later. But it doesn't explain away all of it. It does not for a minute. I don't care how much they try to explain it away. I don't believe that it does. There's an interesting article on, and it goes on to talk about this idea. But I'm seeing more and more of this in the popular media, and I'm glad it's getting more attention.
Yeah, well, something that was interesting right off the bat when you read this that kind of went ding, ding, ding in my head is one of the Catholic beliefs that they teach you about between earth and heaven is purgatory. Is that the third state?
Yeah, but I don't think the third state lasts. I thought purgatory could last for years.
Well, I don't know. We used to have arguments with the nun in high school about this. But
that's like the old George Carlin bit. It's like, if God's all powerful, can he make a rock so big that he himself cannot lift it? I love that joke.
We used to have arguments in religion class in high school. Some of these girls that I went to school with, kudos to them, because they would argue with the nun. You mean that a baby that's baptized isn't going straight to heaven? They have to go to purgatory? Why would they have to go to purgatory? What did they do wrong?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
But it kind of lends itself to what we talked about last week and what you've been talking about, like the creator, the programmer. Is there a third state between, I don't know. It's kind of,
and this is what gets me PO'd about the way that our shows are represented. From the standpoint like, the paranormal, it's all about just chasing ghosts. We talk about some big heady stuff on these shows.
And science. We talk about science. There's quantum physics. There's planets and astronomy and just, and that leads into this next story, which
yes, it does.
Me PO'd. I am so
positively outraged.
I'm so angry with this, guys. I'm sorry. It just lends itself to why research and why media and articles are just presented incorrectly half the time. So this is from Newsweek, mind you, right? The Americans More Likely to Believe in Ghosts is the title of this article. And Gallup did a research poll, right? Research. I use it very lightly. From May 1st to May 18th. And why does this tick me off? Why is it ticking me off? Because they're telling you what Americans are more likely to believe. First of all, they say most Americans are very skeptical. But there's certain demographics that are more likely to believe than others. So women are, first of all, more likely to believe than men at 40%. Men are only at 28%. People who infrequently attend religious service, 40%, versus people that go to church weekly, 22% would believe, right? College non-graduates at 38%. College graduates at 28%. So if you went to college and you graduated, only 28% of us believe in the paranormal. And then they get into this whole thing about political moderates and liberals. So liberals believe 35% versus conservatives believing 28%. First of all, what does politics really have to do with believing in the supernatural and paranormal? I don't know. What? Because you're a liberal, you believe in Bigfoot, but a conservative couldn't believe in Bigfoot. What is that?
Right.
That doesn't make
that
any
makes
sense.
no sense. Yeah.
No sense. So I'm angry because
it's more the effort trying to
questions?
politicize everything. But go ahead.
It is. But what are the questions that you asked, and how did you ask them? Why aren't you being transparent? Why don't you put Newsweek? Put a link to your survey. I want to see the actual questions that Gallup used, but they don't do that. So anyway, it goes on. 48% of American adults believe in psychic healing. 39% express a belief in ghosts. That's not even upsetting to me, whatever, okay? They spoke to this American folklorist and professor in English at Penn State named Peter Dendel. And he goes, there are many psychological reasons people hold paranormal beliefs, such as gaining a sense of control over situations in which they are vulnerable, blah, blah, blah. Then he goes into this quote. There are also cognitive explanations that map onto this as a separate layer of analysis, including mistrust of institutional authority and deficiencies in properly evaluating popular media, such as TV shows and websites. Way to insult my intelligence, Mr. Dendel. What? Because I mistrust? Because I question the government and what they do? I'm not supposed to question. I'm supposed to have blind belief. Oh, yes.
Don't you know that our government
do,
has always...
I'm just a stupid woman.
Our government has always acted in our best interest. Just ask the Vietnam...
I'm not smart enough to evaluate a TV show. That must be real.
Just ask our Vietnam vets who were exposed to Agent Orange. Our government always acts in our best interest, and we should never be skeptical.
They're taking care of them. They've taken care of people. Yeah, we know how well they are transparent.
I don't think you should see a conspiracy around every corner, but I also don't think you should necessarily trust everything we're told, because history shows that sometimes our government misleads us, and I think Exhibit 8, the JFK assassination. But I'm off on a tangent. The other thing, this whole thing is just to basically say, if you believe in the paranormal in any way, you're stupid. That's basically what it is. It's a pretty way of saying it.
Yes, because, if you went to college,
we both have. By the way,
you wouldn't believe in that.
We both have master's degrees.
I have master's degrees.
Yes. So, I mean, not that that's the be all and end all, or that really means that much, but don't tell me I'm stupid because I believe that there's more than what you understand.
Yes.
To me...
quote, you want to hear this one? Quote, college graduates may also have a buttress against paranormal beliefs from greater exposure to courses in critical thinking, science, world history and religion, and cultural analysis. So I'm sorry, you might be like a friggin' professor in theology and you might believe in this, but no, because... you went to college, you shouldn't believe in this because, you were exposed to everything. So what? I was exposed to everything. What? My brain's not developed enough to make my own decisions about what I believe. I'm stupid enough that I don't know what's happened to me. Like, I know what I've seen. I know what experiences I've been through. Sorry, Mr. Dendel, you don't have any. Maybe I think
people like that, and you said they're almost bigoted. They're bigoted in a way. If you don't believe what I believe, you're an ignorant fool. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. Now, there are skeptics that I have talked to, and we actually have Kieran O'Keefe coming up, who is a skeptic, but he's a very, I don't know if open-minded skeptic's the way, but he never throws out stuff like this. And I think sometimes it's good to listen to skeptics, because sometimes I think we on the believer side might get a little carried away with ourselves. But this whole thing that you're stupid if you believe in the paranormal,
also
you're
if you're
less
a woman,
educated.
Because he goes on to say, quote again, there may also be cultural scripts that encourage men to assert themselves with markers of rationality.
See, now
women are stupid and irrational.
I put it the other way. I think women may tend to lean more towards belief, but that's because they're more emotionally intelligent and they're more tuned in.
I was going to say, we have a sense of intuition. You've heard mother's intuition or women intuition. We can be more in tune with our feelings and emotions and realize, maybe sense things that are, how many times moms out there, guys, if you can sense something's going on with your kid, you might not even be like having eyes on them at that point. You turn your head and like, sure enough, Johnny's like doing something like writing on the wall or something. You have a sense of stuff. I'm sorry, this guy has got me So ticked off with him.
Again, I take it the other
guys.
way. I think that's a sign of emotional intelligence and perceptiveness among women. That's something I think should be applauded, not kind of looked down upon. Well, men, they're so
religious
smart.
service attendance is most associated with skepticism.
What I don't get, that makes no sense, because if you believe, for example, we'll pick on Christianity because we're both of the Christian faith.
Pick on Catholics specifically. Go ahead.
It's all supernatural. It's all paranormal. Jesus
was
born at a virgin
right?
birth. He ascended to, he died and rose again and ascended to heaven. That's about as supernatural as it gets.
If you're Catholic, you believe in the transfiguration. You believe in at the point of communion that the bread and wine actually turn into Jesus's body and blood. Okay,
so that makes no sense because.
Oh no, you're not skeptic.
Well, it's the way they're playing with the definitions.
Yes,
but the belief in religion is a belief in the supernatural.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people don't. Even people who are very religious and believe all the stuff, they'd say, "Oh no, I don't believe in the supernatural." And I'm like, Do you understand what that means?
Do you know the definition? Correct. Yeah. Yeah. There's another article that piggybacks off this. It's studyfinds.org. And, what are the different paranormal beliefs, like supernatural beliefs? And they put them into 4 types. So traditional religious beliefs. So belief in God, angels, and demons. Just to your point, Jim, what's supernatural? That's one of their first definitions, when you believe in God and angels and demons. And so that's traditional religious beliefs. Second represents spiritual and mental forces. So paranormal, new age beliefs like communicating with the dead or predicting the future. Okay, a third group, belief in witches and witchcraft. So like existence of black magic, or if you can cast spells on people. And the fourth and final group was supernatural forces that shape luck, like black cats bring bad luck, 4-leaf clovers, that kind of thing. And their study, and this study was from 2021 though, their analysis found that higher education, higher income are associated with lower levels of all 4 types of supernatural belief, right? And those with a bachelor degree or higher, for instance, score below average on all 4 types of belief, while those with less education score higher. They're saying Latino and Hispanic individuals were more likely than white individuals to express belief in witches and witchcraft. But what this article doesn't do, they don't go into disparaging the groups. They don't talk to somebody who's saying that, they're not hinting at the fact that these people are stupid. They're just saying, look, we did research. Those that had bachelor's degrees believed in this and those, but they're not offering.
Right. Well, I mean, to me, it makes sense that just anecdotally, I can tell you that it seems, at least to me, again, anecdotally, is that it seems to me that women believe at a greater rate than men. Also, there seems to be an intense interest in the Hispanic community in these kind of questions and things. That maps to kind of my life experience and having many Hispanic listeners and contributors on Campfire, for example. But they don't go on to insult whatever group it is. In fact, I would say Hispanic people, they're very tuned in. They seem to be very tuned in. So I think that's a great thing. I think that's a positive.
I believe they're raised to be open in that culture. I mean, like Italians are raised to be open to the Maliki and the evil eye. And that was just like nothing. We never even questioned that.
I've got the evil eye amulet in the dark and tell you right on the side of the office.
I was going to start wearing my horn. I found my horn.
Oh, cool.
My cornu. And I actually have an extra one that I believe was my dad's. So I can give you one.
I think you should wear it, especially we're covering all this stuff.
Right. Well, just to close off, I know
we got one coming up in a minute. You better go run and get it.
Yeah, I know, really. Oh, I know I've been going on and on about this, but this other article, this is how they ended it. And I was very impressed because they said, answering these questions can be difficult. Most scientific surveys in the U.S. public include only 1 or 2 questions about religious belief. Rarely do they include questions about other types of supernatural beliefs, such as paranormal or superstitious forces. And this leads to an incomplete understanding of how supernatural beliefs and practices are changing in the U.S. So at least they're, you know what I mean? They're being very okay. I don't know. They're just not giving their opinion and their bias like most of the media does in their article. So,
well, to quote Michael Scott from The Office, I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Very good. There you go.
There you
Sorry,
go.
guys, for my rant, but there you go. Very good. This just upset me because I'm a stupid woman who just believes in the paranormal.
Oh well. Oh well.
Whatever.
Yeah. I think
Fight me.
the one that's stupid is not you or women. I think it's whoever came up with that nonsense.
Yes. Well,
Anyway,
But
we were talking
let's move
about
along.
near-death
Yes.
experiences. We were talking about this before, and you found this. This is a remarkable account and kind of different than what we're used to hearing.
Yeah, scary.
This was a woman by the name of Nicole Meas. I tried to look that up. I think that's the closest pronunciation I could find. She was officially pronounced dead for 2 minutes, and she felt pulled from her body and entered a tunnel of light where she was met by blue-skinned beings. And she told this to Need to Know, and this was in the New York Post. She's a 49-year-old artist, and unfortunately, she was in the hospital after losing her baby. And of course, our hearts go out to anybody out there who's experienced that, and to Nicole.
It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, we had that recently on Campfire. It's a very sad situation.
Yeah, and some people were commenting in the virtual too,
Yeah.
and it just, our sympathies to everybody. I mean, that is just such a very, very hard thing to deal with. So
it certainly is. Well,
we're so sorry.
Yeah, it is. It is really a horrible thing. So Nicole was dealing with this. She was rushed into emergency surgery, but she had complications. She started to go in and out of consciousness. She said she found herself passing through a tunnel of blue and white light, not a beam, but a corridor that felt alive. She's from Greece, by the way. She said that it was almost like music, and it was made of water, or like it was made of water. And she entered this area space with luminous colors such as silver, soft violets, and deep radiant blues. She said the chamber was vast, unlike anything that you would see on Earth. And she said she was greeted by, get this, blue-skinned beings with human faces similar to what you see in the movie Avatar.
Whoa.
Yeah. She said 2 towering beings seated on marble-like thrones shimmering with energy. Their eyes were large and indigo, filled with kindness and recognition. They looked human but had gentle gills on their cheeks. She goes on to describe it further. She said they didn't speak in words. They were both male and female combined, and she understood everything they told her. She basically said she wasn't meant to have children, but that her kind of mission, I guess, was to teach people about the other side. She said she felt like she knew more than she ever knew in life, and she didn't want to leave. She said that she learned that death is not an end, it's a return to our actual lives. After this, she was, quote, zapped back into her body, and when her husband Christos tried to speak with her, she communicated in a high-pitched tone in an unfamiliar language that sounded like dolphins communicating, like dolphin clicks.
Whoa.
So it goes on to say more and more. She does say that she believes that her mission was to spread the message that love is stronger than death. But it is interesting, and I've seen other accounts. There was a gentleman who met some beings, and they kind of laughed when he was telling them the different things that happened to him on this earth. And they were laughing, oh, he doesn't remember being here. Ha, 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 ha. So, I mean, that kind of maps a little bit to this. But, I mean, something's going on, and I don't think it's just a hallucination, and I just don't think it's like this internal DMT. I believe something is going on, and I do believe we go on. And I think this is just a little glimpse of what
for
happens.
Sure.
I don't think we'll really ever, any of us truly know until we cross that barrier ourselves.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we have a few people that can come back and report, but I do, while there's some similarities among everyone's stories, they're not exactly the same.
Yeah, there's differences.
Yes.
And that makes you, I mean, there are themes, the tunnel of light, the life review, a lot of times a religious figure, those kind of things, but it's not 100%.
I don't remember reading an account of blue-skinned people. I mean, I think that's very interesting. But the similarity is that she still felt peace. She felt at home.
Right.
She didn't want to come back.
The ones that scare me, and it is a minority, but some people do have kind of hell-like experiences. I was just watching a YouTube video and they were talking to a serious scholar who had looked into these and said there was no, and I wish I knew the name so I could give the credit, but basically the gist was a lot of times there was no rhyme or reason to it. People who were generally thought of as good people sometimes.
Don't tell me that. That scares me.
I'm sorry. I'm terrifying you. But that is the minority.
So it doesn't matter if I do anything right or wrong?
No, but this is the minority of cases. You have to remember that. So anyway, it's interesting, and we'll continue to monitor and share these cases as they come up. They're very compelling, and I'm hoping, to my point earlier, I hope we can get Dr. Sam Parnia on, because that
would be so neat.
I love when you have serious academics looking at this stuff seriously and,
talking about his research and experiences that he's had as a physician would be, I enjoy hearing those stories. So
very interesting indeed.
And you know what else is interesting?
I think you're going to tell me. I'm going to
tell you there was another Bigfoot sighting.
There you go.
According to unexplained-mysteries.com/unexplained-mysteries.com. Also, I actually went to the BFRO.net website, which is the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, to actually read the account of what happened. But this was on June 15th. A woman and her husband and cousin were searching. So apparently in Sedona, Arizona, there was a missing little girl, and a lot of people went searching for her. And it was hours long. They just couldn't, nobody was coming up with her, but a lot of people were volunteering to go search. And this woman named Amber and her husband and cousin ventured out to help with the search to try to find this little girl in the wilderness. And they'd gone about 20 miles down this like dirt track, and they were using like a spotlight. It can be dark when there's, and a beam shone onto something large standing by. And she describes the creature as 7 feet tall, at least 400 pounds, had wide body, shoulders. The eyes were like reflecting a golden color. The face was like leathery and covered in like white and gray hair. White and brown hair, flat, hairless, leathery face. And it was staring at them, just staring. And they stood there and stared back at him for like a few minutes, and then they got scared and they took off. They left as fast as they could. They got back to the same area when she was screaming the girl's name. She heard tree knocks, and she kind of jokingly said, "Oh, hey, it's Bigfoot." And her husband did not, I'm going to put that in a different light, did not believe in Bigfoot. He was a big hunter. He was always skeptical about it. And now that he saw that, it kind of changed his tune a lot. He said it really did look like a Bigfoot, and it really scared him. And she said, her husband doesn't really scare very easily. Luckily, they did find the little girl. I think it was like a day or two later. They found the little girl safe. Interestingly enough, her story indicated that the reason why she walked away from her camp, she saw something glowing and glowing lights, and it was moving towards her, and that scared her. So she was running from it, and it led her to fall down a cliff in the canyon. And luckily she was alive after that fall, because it was very, very dangerous. And there were many witnesses to that, but like this little girl, I guess BFRO, what's his name? Matthew Moneymaker. He was trying to get in touch with the girl's family so he could get a firsthand personal account from the little girl about like exactly what she saw. But I guess the little girl is so traumatized, and how can she not be, right? If she saw this giant, like 400-pound, 7-foot creature. But so she doesn't really want to talk to them right now. But I mean, very interesting sighting, and very, informative, lots of information there. So you decide, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. What do you think, Jim? I know you're skeptical sometimes.
When it comes to Bigfoot, I don't like to disparage people's personal experiences, because who am I to say I wasn't there? So it could very well be. I mean, that's kind of my bottom line when people come up with their experiences, kind of the same model we follow on Campfire. So I would say, I tend to take people at their word when they have these experiences, unless there's some real reason not to do so. So, and again, I always go back to that Patterson-Gimlin film after it's been stabilized. To me, that looks real. So who knows? Who knows if Bigfoot
this was
is
interesting.
Indeed, very much
Very
so.
interesting
very much
account.
So.
And what you're going to talk about next is so interesting that I'm letting you talk about it because I'm terrified and don't want to talk about it.
We're talking about this guy. Robert the Doll, yeah. Instead of a haunted place this week, we are doing a haunted thing and haunted object. And I hope we're okay because we did not ask for permission to do this segment. You're supposed to ask.
Robert, we need permission. We're going to do this segment on you. It's just to tell people about you. We have no
we have no
opinions
beef.
About you.
We have
I'm
no
afraid
beef.
of you.
No negative opinions.
I'm afraid of you.
He does look a little intimidating there, I've got to say.
Scary to me.
Now, this is from Wikipedia. We're getting our info. It is they say, reportedly haunted doll exhibited at the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. He was once owned by painter, author, and Key West resident Robert Eugene Otto. And the lore goes that you need to ask him permission to take a picture. And if you take a picture and don't ask permission, bad things happen. Now, the doll remains restored in the Otto family home at 534 Eaton Street in Key West, while Otto studied art in New York and Paris. And it goes on to talk about this. After his death in 1974, his wife died 2 years later. The Eaton Street home containing the doll was sold to Myrtle Reuter, who owned it for 20 years. And then they donated the doll in 1994 to the East Martello Museum in Key West. Now, the lore goes that the doll has supernatural abilities that allow it to move, change its facial expressions, and make giggling sounds. Some versions of the legend claim that a young girl of Bahamian descent gave Otto the doll as a gift or as a retaliation for wrongdoing. Other stories claim that the doll moved voodoo figurines around the room and was aware of what went on around him. Other legends claim that the doll vanished after Otto's house changed ownership several times after his death, or that young Otto triggered the doll's supernatural powers by blaming his childhood mishaps on the doll. According to local folklore, the doll has caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, divorce, and a cornucopia of other misfortunes. So I don't know. I don't think I would visit Robert. Would you go with me if I?
Key West is my bucket list. I don't know. I'm kind of freaked out. Every time I see a picture of this doll, it freaks me out. It really, really does. I don't know why. Oh yeah, keep putting it up there. That's great.
Now be nice to Robert. Be nice.
I'm scared of him, so I'm not going to be mean to him. I don't want to. I don't know. I was a big doll person when I was growing up. My mom used to sew me dolls. She made me. I had 7 dolls. One was 4 feet tall. She made me a 4-foot tall doll. I named her Nancy. I mean, I still have her. I have my dolls my mom made. I was a big doll person just because my mom was. She had some dolls that always creeped me out. I no longer own those. We also had that weird jester doll.
Yeah, I should have kept that. I should have kept that.
The girls kept the picture of it, and they terrify each other with the picture.
But I did get rid of it. I did get rid of it. Is that accurate? Or it might be in a box downstairs.
I think so. I don't know. When she bought it, I was an adult, and I was just like, Mom, that is just so scary.
It was like a Harlequin, but it was very creepy.
It was not like it was, but it wasn't. It was freaky to me. I don't know. Just did not like that doll. But so I was always a doll person, a teddy bear person. I had, I gave them personalities and, so that's why I think Robert kind of freaks me out because my dolls had temperaments and personalities that I gave them. So who's to say? I mean,
I would not reject it out of hand that something could be imbued with certain abilities. So I would be very respectful of Robert. Speaking of being respectful, I want to be respectful of our great community we're building over at the virtual Campfire. And this is something that's free, costs you nothing. You may remember I've had over the years a big Facebook community, the virtual Campfire on Facebook. And it was great until Facebook decided, hey, we're not going to show anything. We're not going to let you communicate with your group unless you pay us. And, we would put something up and we have 27,000 members and maybe several hundred people would see it. People in the group would share their stories and only a few hundred people would see it. And then we said, that's not fair. So we went to great expense and effort to build this free community for you, virtualcampfiregroup.com. I think we're about at 2,500 members now. We got a long way to go, but we'd love for you to be over there. Maddie, as you can see in this clip here, is just started contributing different stories, which is a cool thing.
That she's written, correct?
Yeah.
And she also does a wonderful would you rather question every day.
Yeah,
so.
Today's was really good. She said, would you rather be haunted by, I think, ironically, by a haunted doll or by a black-eyed kid? And I commented, is there a correct answer here? That was my question.
Yeah, no.
And you'll see on the screen there, if you're watching, there's a different section for all our different shows: Campfire, Paranormal Podcast, this show, Paranormal Report, Crime Scene, Unpleasant Dreams, Spooky Studio. Plus, our Plus members can join in and talk about the shows. Of course, you have to be a Plus member to listen to shows. But if you want to talk about them, that's a great place to do it. You have a place to share your stories, show off your merch. We talk about haunted places like we do with Robert the Doll. It's a great place. People are loving it. I mean, Dar, I've been really impressed with what people have said. I've had very few people say anything negative. It's been universally, this is really neat. I wish this had been around a long time ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a safe community. It's not hopefully not filled with people who don't believe. I mean, right. You know what I'm saying? That they're not, in other words, nobody's going to judge you for what you believe, and they shouldn't judge you.
That's been our experience so far.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So they shouldn't be judging you for what you believe or don't believe. And that's what I like so far about the community. You talked about the Plus Club area. We posted a little thing about our behind the scenes yesterday. So
the flying hamburger story.
The flying hamburger story. So if you're not a member, you need
the
to
Plus
get in
Club,
there.
I'll throw that up there. JimHarold.com/plus, JimHarold.com/plus, and join our spooky studio. That is a paid thing. That is different. But on the behind the scenes show that we do for that, we talked about my flying hamburger story and how
people
it could have
enjoyed
been the
the
end
story,
of me.
and people on the virtual campfire in the group there shared. The one member shared her personal experience. It was a flying ice cream cone, so it was very. I was impressed. So it was
it was
awesome.
not supernatural. It was not supernatural.
No, it wasn't supernatural. So
there
but
you go.
Get over there, guys. It's a nice community to just be able to. We have polls and different things. We're going to put up a poll later today. We have an interesting one to put up. So join us over there. It's free.
Yeah, it's free. And that's kind of the nice thing of it. We didn't want to make it a charge thing. I'm just pulling up my next story because I accidentally closed it out. But trying to do that surreptitiously.
I did that last week, so it's fine.
The point is that we wanted to make something, and we didn't want to charge people for it, where people could have discussions and not have to worry about AI slop or ads, a lot of scammy.
Or their message not getting out there, which was happening to you. You would post things and...
Yeah, and it was happening to them. They'd share a story and nobody would comment on it because nobody would see it. And we're seeing and we're seeing a lot of interaction between members, which is really nice. So it's a great keep it up, guys. To meet people who are like-minded. So thank you to all our virtual Campfire Group members, virtualcampfiregroup.com. So you might remember when we talked about that big drone flap a few months ago, I think we mentioned it on the show that there had been this report, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in the Dayton area, Ohio, where they'd shut down the base. There were even some recordings that I don't think I shared them on the show, but recordings where they talked about all these, I think they call them UASs, these unmanned aerial aircraft that they didn't know what they were. Well, now, because of John Greenwald and the Black Vault, we've talked about him recently, that the U.S. military has been compelled to release documents and video of 2 incidents over Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in December of 2024. Way to go, John. And we'll have a link. We'll have a link, and we're not going to show it here because because of YouTube, you can't show anything, but we'll have a link to this stuff in the show notes. And it says, according to Air Force personnel and other witnesses in the area, the UFOs may have been part of the same drone swarms that both captivated and terrified the nation late last year. This happened on December 13th and December 16th. Personnel at Wright-Patterson tracked and recorded the objects hovering over the secure facility. And they considered it so serious that they stopped flight operations around the base. They called local law enforcement, and they had security use thermal imaging cameras to find the intruders, but it's still unsolved. So, and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, if you follow this stuff, you know that it has a link to Roswell. People think maybe the bodies were taken to, if there were bodies recovered from that they were taken back to Wright-Patterson. I wouldn't rule it out. I think there's a very good chance. I think you're probably a little more skeptical on that one than I am, but I think something happened to Roswell, and I think they did recover something. So I guess my point is this, is that it would be, an interesting place for them to kind of hover around, kind of too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. And it happened. It really happened. Now, whether it was somebody in the area messing around or something like that, but you would think if it was somebody flying their DJI drone that they got at Walmart, that they'd be able to figure this out, and it wouldn't be enough to shut down operation. So that tells me either maybe it was something of a foreign genesis, an adversary, or something from somewhere else. So,
and we'll never know, because will we ever get the truth? Not really.
Well, I don't know that we won't ever know, but it does make you wonder, what are they covering up? Because they're covering up something. I don't buy. Well,
obviously.
I didn't buy the explanation from the previous administration, and I don't buy the explanation from the current administration. I think.
Well, the fact that you have to use the Freedom of Information Act to get the information, because they're not willingly putting it out there. So what does that tell you? Right? I mean, to me, something's being covered up, because you have to go through all the hoops and request the information be released. And then there's a matter of trust in that, right? Are they releasing all the information to you that you request? Or, I don't know, that person didn't put subset A on their request form, so we're not going to give that piece to them.
Oh, sure.
There's no way of you knowing. There's no way of knowing.
Well, I'll tell you,
I do sound so conspiratorial, don't I? And I'm not really conspiratorial.
Where'd you leave your tinfoil hat? Where's your tinfoil hat?
There,
you need to bring next week. You need to wear it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
We need to make matching tinfoil. Yeah, we should have matching tinfoil hats.
I think I'll make one.
All this stuff, it makes me want to engage in some self-care. How could I do that?
How could you do that, Jim? Should you, on your lunch break, go for a pedicure or go to like a Pilates class? What should you do for self-care? Well, according to harpersbazaar.com in Australia, they are saying psychic readings are the new self-care ritual. And so this article was very interesting. This editor for Bazaar magazine, she decided to go meet a psychic for a reading on her lunch break. And she was kind of skeptical going in. She really was. She was like, I don't know. But I'm going to go. I'm going to search. I'm going to be open-minded. And she was visiting a psychic medium named Jessica Lynn. And apparently Jessica Lynn is huge in Australia. I don't know if she is across the world. I would imagine she's got 147,000 Instagram followers. She has celebrity clientele. Like if you watch The Real Housewives of New York, Sonia Morgan, she is one of her clients. So she's got months-long waiting lists to get in. But this editor went and saw her, and she's like, she says she describes herself as spiritually inquisitive, right? So the psychic starts asking her questions to validate that she's speaking with her grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, okay, but then she started recalling details that you can't Google about her grandfather. And she said, maybe this is real. And So she was kind of like, And this is what got her. So the psychic Lynn describes a memory that she shared, that the editor shared with her grandfather. Only her and her grandfather knew about this. So she starts crying. And, she was, before her grandfather died, she was caring for him. She gave his medications. And one day she accidentally, like, mixed up his pain medications. And then he had one day of laughter and levity and one day relief in his painful decline. It was like the last day he could walk, but only those two knew what had happened.
Wow.
And this psychic said this. And and before he passed, or no, actually, I'm sorry, the psychic told her that her grandfather said it was one of his most treasured memories, those couple days that they spent together where she messed up his medicine. And nobody knew that story besides the two of them.
Wow.
Yeah. She said partly she never told anyone because she was shamed. She was like, oh my gosh, look what I did. And partly because it was too painful of a memory.
Sure.
Yeah. So, the psychic talked about her future, and I guess her grandfather wanted her to know that she has not missed out and she will have a chance to have a family. And she's like, okay, I know a therapist could tell me this. My friends have been telling me this, but, she always wondered, spending her 20s taking care of her grandparents, if she missed the window. And she thought, wow, that was kind of, I don't know. It meant a lot to her that her grandfather said that it wasn't too late. I would hope she'd come back out, write an article if she ends up having a family. I think that would be really, really cool. So I guess a lot of people are using psychic mediums to have some self-care and get some questions answered about their lives. So I think it's pretty cool.
It makes sense. My feeling on psychics has always been, first of all, I do believe some people have psychic gifts. And I also think there are people out there who claim to have psychic gifts that are no more psychic than I am, or right. A piece of wood. But I think it was maybe it was, I think, Thomas John or some psychic, maybe I don't know if I'm getting his name wrong or not. But I said, well, what do you think, that some psychics are charlatans? And he said, basically paraphrasing, yeah, there's some bad apples and there's also some bad podcasters and some bad radio hosts, and in every profession, bad auto mechanics, whatever it might be.
Yes.
So I think there's something to it. And I don't think there's a thing in the world wrong with psychics charging. You can provide a good service and charge reasonable rates. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you have to understand when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, there's no guarantees. As long as the rates are reasonable, they're not exorbitant, and it's not one of these things, well, come back next week and I'll tell you more for another $500. Then you get into a very slippery slope. I think if somebody practices and uses their psychic ability to earn income in an ethical way, I don't think a thing is wrong with it, just like it would be any other service. But I think it's the same thing. People want to have it all one way or all the other. Everybody's a psychic.
And there's not,
or the other. Nobody's psychic and they're all frauds. I don't think either side of that is totally real. Now, I think we all do. I don't think we're all like psychics, like super tuned in, but I do think we all have, gut feelings and impulses, and we pick up on things. I do believe that does happen. I think that's almost universal. Even skeptics, I think, have that. But in terms of being someone who can practice and work with other people and help them, I think that's a special talent.
Right. I think some people can develop that talent that they have. I mean, Jody Levana always says, everybody has like a certain level. Can you hone in on it? Can you develop it? Can you, spend time with it and do that? Some people can, some people cannot. I also think the person that goes for a psychic reading also has to have a certain mindset. I don't think, if you go in and say, I need these answers, I must have this answer, you're not going to, I don't know if you're going to get that answer, and you shouldn't be disappointed. I mean, you need to go in being free and open-minded to just accept whatever's going to come to you. You know what I mean? Like,
you may go looking for answer A, you may get answer B, you might not get any answer at all.
Well, that time I was hoping real early on when was it
Carol Oakley? Yeah.
Real early on, I wanted my mom to come through more than anything. She did not. She did not come through. She's busy. But people that I would have never expected came through, like complete shock. So,
with
yeah,
details and ways that you wouldn't have known, people that she wouldn't have even known about, because you're not.
names.
Yeah. And you've never been on general social media. There would be no way she would know these names. So
No, not and
Yep.
way long ago. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was
very
very
interesting.
validating and very interesting
Yeah.
to me. So, but you have
Very
to go in
interesting.
and be open-minded. I believe that. So,
Yeah, I think
and
so.
be careful. Do your research, like we tell you guys with everything, even like media articles. Same when you're looking for a psychic. Do a research. Make sure you're getting as best you can, somebody that you feel is reputable and you know, we don't want you to get scammed if that's what you want to do.
Excellent points.
There you
Excellent
go.
points. Well, the next thing is an interesting paper that's come out. It's been written by 14 researchers representing institutions from York University to the University of Cambridge. So we're not talking about Joe's house of books. We're talking about like major. And it's basically to talk about, well, what happens if we do discover alien life? How would that be communicated to people? How would you avoid panic and those kind of things? And they said specifically, unlike searching for simple microbial life, discovering technological signatures from alien civilizations would fundamentally reshape our understanding of our place in the universe and create unprecedented challenges. The lead researcher is Kate Genevieve from Astroecology's Institution. And basically, she says that past plans for this and how this would be communicated, including deadlines going back to 1989 before really the internet took off, are totally and woefully out of date for our current age. So it's to try to develop a plan and think about how would we communicate this. The article goes on to say, in an era of viral misinformation and instant global communication, the discovery of alien technology would likely create a meteor firestorm unlike anything humanity has experienced. So as part of this, there's critical areas that NASA should invest in, everything from advancing detection technologies to studying how different cultures might interpret the news of extraterrestrial discovery. Now, there's an interesting meme in sports that I'll apply. There's a great reporter, you'll know him from his LeBron days. He started out here in Cleveland, Kent State graduate, ended up going national, Brian Windhorst.
Yes.
And he has this thing now on Twitter, if you follow, or X, if you follow sports, he has this thing like he was talking about a story and he said, well, why would they do that? And he holds his hands like this. Why would they do that? So now it's a meme. Anytime in sports something comes up, they show a picture of him like, why would they do that? So here's
can we
my
do that for
question.
The paranormal?
Yeah. Why would they do a study?
Why would the government hide UFO? No.
Right. No, but why would they do a study to examine what we should do if aliens are discovered? Why would they do that? Think.
Gee, I don't know. Why would they do that?
Because they know they're real and they know that we might discover them one day.
But bump. Where's the drums? There we go.
A little slow. So, why would anytime, and it's kind of like the old thing from Watergate, follow the money. It's like, why would they do that? When you hear these things from government and different people, why would they do that? Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
And this next one, I think I know why they would do it. The next story, to make some money.
Money. All right, guys, we're going to close
tell us
with
about
this story.
There's we have another image that freaks Dar out, but go ahead.
When I was younger, saw this. I don't like this. So don't do that. So the infamous, is it Cottingley? I never pronounced it right. Cottingley Fairies,
I believe,
photographs. Yeah. So this story is from LincolnshireWorld.com. So these copies of these photos are set for auction after they've been in the family's possession for like a century. So there's two photographs. This is one of them. And supposedly they proved the existence of fairies, right? They're going under auction probably this week, what it sounds
Yeah,
like.
but it was found that they were a hoax. They were like paper
Yes.
cutouts or something.
Yes. So the photographs were owned by Frances Griffiths. She was a 9-year-old schoolgirl who appeared in the picture with the fairies. She gave them to her best friend and never revealed to her best friend that they were fake. So all her life, her poor best friend thought they were real. She would take them out and show people. Yeah. So
That's sad.
they said they lived around the back of the bottom of their garden and they would play with the fairies. And it was in the village of Cottingley in West Yorkshire. And people wanted to examine the negatives, and they said there was no tampering with the negatives, and people were saying that pictures were not fake, and the story went global, and Sherlock Holmes and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote about the fairies in the Strand magazine.
Not Sherlock Holmes, but Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote.
Yes, the author of Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Then Superman flew in, and no, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Thank you. There. See? Okay. I never said I was perfect. All right. Anyway, but people examined the negatives. They said, nope, they're not fakes, And so Frances passed hers to her best friend, Mary Anderson, didn't tell her they were faked. And she treasured these photos for like 60 years. Right until 1983 when Elsie and Frances, very old ladies, came clean and said it was all
I've got
hoax.
something to tell you. Wouldn't that be terrible?
They were simply cardboard cutouts that they had made, and they were inspired by pictures in a children's book.
That woman had
and they
to be
were propped
crushed.
up with hat pins. She was so upset. She told her son, daughter-in-law, get them out of here, throw them out. She wanted everything she owned that had to do with it in the dustbin. That
was her whole life.
It was her whole life. And she was so let down. She wanted it all thrown out. This, her son's wife said, you know what? Let's not do that. She said, I'll keep them, just in case you change your mind. But the mother never changed her mind. She never wanted to see those again. But it was good that David's wife saved the photos, because now they're going to auction and they're expected to make well into four
So
figures.
her family will make the money. Is that correct?
Yes,
the woman that they were given to.
Yes,
that's
Mary
really kind of
David.
Good, because that way, she got victimized basically by this hoax. But now at least her family is realizing some advantage of it. So it's kind of poetic justice in a way.
Yes.
And it's good that the people who did the hoax are not benefiting from it. Yeah, it is
Why
sad.
didn't they tell her?
I mean, especially, I could see maybe at first being scared, but not waiting until you're elderly. Maybe when you reached adulthood, say,
I don't know.
I got something to tell you. I hate to tell you this. It'd be better than wasting 60 years or whatever. Oh, sad.
There's some other articles, though, that had indicated that even though the girls faked the photos, they really did believe that they played with fairies. They really did. They just didn't have any proof or photographs of it.
But that's a different
But at that point
question.
now, but at that point, isn't now it a little difficult to trust them because they fabricated such a lie and went with it for so long? So
I remember seeing those I remember seeing those as a little kid on In Search of, and I was freaked out.
I don't know where I saw it, but I hated those stupid things. And then my mom again, she bought these stupid little these fairy figurines. And I hate to admit it, when your parents pass and you go through stuff and you try to, should I keep this? That was one of the first things I'm like, get them out of here. Get them out of here. Even the girls, our girls were freaked by them.
Get it out.
I don't know. I think she spent pretty good for them. And I just I donated them somewhere. I'm like, I don't want those. See, that's why you all need to be careful when you're going estate shopping. You don't know what you're getting.
We talk about that all the time. Haunted objects. Yep. Well, it looks like we have completed another paranormal report. Thank you, guys. Couple of things. Yeah, thank you so much. Just a little round of plugging. We have our merch store. Actually, we've got some new stuff up there. We've got our new Campfire logo. and the new shirts. It should appear in a second here. And you can see there's a nice black one. And then there's all different colors.
All different colors.
And, yeah, there's, what would you call that? A heather? Is that a heather?
That might be a heather gray. I'm not quite sure because there's a couple grays. That's a forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a heather mauve. Yeah, so we have different colors.
You know all the colors.
No, I don't actually, but that's a heather peach. I know some of them. I think we have purple and...
Yeah, there's really a lot there. So we hope that you will frequent the mausoleum often. We've got our bumper magnet. We've got our Summer Wayne Vibes T-shirt. You've actually got a new hoodie. And pretty soon, before you know it, it'll be time for a hoodie, a new hoodie with the new logo.
Hoodie season.
Yeah, and a sweatshirt. So you really got a lot going on. You've done a great job with that. So... and we don't make a ton of money off of each item, but what it does do is when you wear your merch, it gets the word out there, and we appreciate that very much. And
also, yeah, I mean, I just sorry to interrupt you. I just find that a lot of times when you wear something and you go somewhere, people like to start conversations sometimes about, oh, what's that? Or, so that's really great word of mouth for Jim's shows. And
that's the last thing I'll mention, and then we'll let everybody go. We have gotten so many comments that this show is people's favorite show that we do, which for one, I'm like, it's all dar, so
it's not all dar.
Shows what you think of me. But no, but it is. It's you are the straw that stirs the drink. But anyway, the point is,
it's us together. It's a combination.
It's yes. There you go. It's because
we're
chemical
just that.
Reaction.
We're just that couple.
Yes, we are. But here's the thing. We look at the stat numbers, and they're not growing that much. So we want to keep doing the paranormal reports. So we ask you, no, that's not true. They just don't know about the show. But that's where you come in. Share the show with your friends. If you know your friends like YouTube, send them the YouTube link. If you know they like Spotify, send them the Spotify link. Whatever you consume the show on, send them that link, text it to them, send it to them, say, hey, if you like the paranormal, you like the supernatural, you like a middle-aged couple kind of kvetching at each other and giving each other the business.
Watch how you say that. No.
Share the link. So that's how we're going to get the word out there. That's that old football clip where the referee says, penalty on number 76, but giving the quarterback the business.
Yes, I know.
So anyway, that's one of my favorite clips.
I was just hoping nobody got a different connotation to that.
I wasn't even,
I know
my mind is pure, and I don't know where your mind is. I corrupt
the heck out of you, don't I?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that'll about do it. We thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Paranormal Report. Any final words of wisdom, Dar?
No, just thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the love that you're giving us. And if some people are recommending some articles on Virtual Campfire, that's awesome. So we thank you for that. Have a great week.
Stay spooky. Bye-bye.
Bye.